Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Prabhupada ki Jai. So I have actually prepared something more in relation to Harinam Sankirtan, but I thought we'll just do today's verse and I will speak something on the verse itself, and then we'll speak a little bit about Harinam Sankirtan and Prasadam distribution in connection with the program today. So we can recite 28 together. Tasmad bhavati kartavyam.
Tasmad bhavati kartavyam.
Tasmad bhavati kartavyam.
Tasmad bhavati kartavyam.
Karmanam trigunatmanam.
Karmanam trigunatmanam.
Karmanam trigunatmanam.
Karmanam trigunatmanam.
Bijanirharanam yoga.
Bijanirharanam yoga.
Bijanirharanam yoga.
Bijanirharanam yoga.
Pravaho paramodiya.
Pravaho paramodiya.
Pravaho paramodiya.
Pravaho paramodiya.
Tasmad bhavati kartavyam.
Tasmad bhavati kartavyam.
Karmanam trigunatmanam.
Karmanam trigunatmanam.
Bijanirharanam yoga.
Bijanirharanam yoga.
Pravaho paramodiha.
Pravaho paramodiya. Tasmad bhavati kartavyam.
Tasmat bhavati kartavyam.
Karmanam trigunatmanam.
Karmanam trigunatmanam.
Bijanirharanam yoga.
Bijanirharanam yoga.
Pravaho paramodiya.
Pravaho paramodiya. Tasmat bhavati kartavyam.
Tasmad bhavati kartavyam.
Karmanam trigunatmanam.
Karmanam trigunatmanam.
Bijanirharanam yoga.
Bijanirharanam yoga.
Pravaho paramodiya.
Pravaho paramodiya.
Tasmad.
Tasmad.
Therefore. Bhavati.
Bhavati.
By your good selves.
By your good self.
Kartavyam.
Kartavyam.
To be done.
To be done.
Karmanam. Of all material activities.
Of all material activities.
Triguna Atmanam.
Trigunatmanam.
conditioned by the three modes of material nature.
Conditioned by the three modes of material nature.
Bija nirharanam,
Bija nirharanam,
burning of the seed.
burning of the seed.
Yoga,
Yoga,
the process by which one can be linked with the Supreme.
process by which one can be linked with the Supreme.
Pravaha,
Pravaha,
of the continuous current in the form of wakefulness,
a continuous current in the form of wakefulness,
dreaming and deep sleep.
dreaming and deep sleep.
Uparamaha,
Uparamaha,
the cessation.
the cessation.
Iyaha,
Diyaha,
of the intelligence.
of the intelligence.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, my dear friends, you can please repeat this also. Therefore, my dear friends,
Therefore, my dear friends,
O sons of the demons,
O sons of the demons,
your duty is to take to Krishna consciousness,
the duty is to take to Krishna consciousness,
which can burn the seeds
which can burn the seeds
of fruitive activities,
of fruitive activities,
artificially created
artificially created
by the modes of material nature,
by the modes of material nature,
and stop the flow
and stop the flow
of the intelligence
of the intelligence
in wakefulness,
in wakefulness,
dreaming,
dreaming,
and deep sleep.
and deep sleep.
In other words,
In other words,
when one takes to Krishna consciousness,
when one takes to Krishna consciousness,
his ignorance is immediately dissipated.
his ignorance is immediately dissipated.
Purport, please hear. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Mam chayo ya vicharina bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyai alpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. By the practice of Bhakti Yoga, one immediately comes to the spiritual platform, transcendental to the actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. The root of ignorance is material consciousness, which must be killed by spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness. The word bija nirharanam refers to burning the root cause of material life to ashes. In the Medini dictionary, yoga is explained by its result. Yoge purvarta sampraptau sangati dhyana yuktishu. When one is put into an awkward position because of ignorance, the process by which one can be freed from this entanglement is called yoga. This is also called liberation. Mukti hitvam yata rupam svarpena vyavastiti. Mukti means giving up one's position in ignorance or illusion, by which one thinks in a way contrary to his constitutional position. Returning to one's constitutional position is called mukti, and the process by which one does this is called yoga. Thus, yoga is above karma, jnana and sankhya. Indeed, yoga is the ultimate goal of life. Krishna therefore advised Arjuna to become a yogi. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Lord Krishna further advised in Bhagavad Gita that the first-class yogi is he who has come to the platform of devotional service. Yoginam visarvesham mam kartinam taratmana Saravam bhajate yumam samayukta tamomata. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Thus, one who always thinks of Krishna within the core of his heart is the best yogi. By practicing this best of all yoga systems, one is liberated from the material condition. Om Jnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So this is, we can nicely remember how Narayana Mataji, she was giving this very nice seminar from Shraddha to Misra, and at one point she was speaking about this burning of the seeds of fruitive activities. So today's verse we get a little bit more information regarding these seeds, which is quite interesting, because it says here, "Therefore, my dear friends, O sons of the demons, your duty is to take to Krishna consciousness, which can burn the seed of fruitive activities artificially created by the modes of material nature." So this is interesting part. It says that the seed of fruitive activities is artificially created by the modes of material nature. So that is quite interesting, why Srila Prabhupada uses the wording artificially. Why does Prabhupada say artificially created by the modes of material nature? This we could consider and discuss. This could be a point for discussion. Well, we may see it as opposed to constitutional, like artificial and constitutional. Like constitutional is that which you really are. So that's you. But when you are something which you are not constitutionally, then we may say this is artificial. It has become what is constitutional. Your consciousness, which was once in constitutional position, it is now in some other position. And that other position is called artificial position. So how is that artificial position created? That is created by the modes of material nature. Because this whole world is comprised of material nature, and one primary aspect of material nature is these three modes, you may say. As we know, material nature is discussed in Bhagavad Gita. The Lord, He discusses material nature in the 7th chapter. It says, "Bhumir apo nalo vayu kamunu buddhi eva cha ahamkaram ityam me binna prakritir astada." So it says that my eightfold external material nature, this has these 8 parts, which is earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then mind, intelligence, and false ego. So these are 8. So these 8, they constitute the material nature, the external material nature. And as we know, then you have the modes. On top of that, well, just to finish up, this was 7.4, then you have 7.5, and then Krishna says, then above and beyond this material nature, there's a superior nature. Aparam vidime param, isn't it? Prakati vid, how is it? Aparam.
No. Oh. No, I forgot.
There's we can take it, it's good to get this, but Prakati vidime param, I believe it's like that. This is a superior nature. It should be just the following verses, 7.5. Aparayam.
Aparayam tastvanyam prakritim vidime param yavapatam mahabaho yayadam bhajati.
I think that was it, yes. Aparayamitastvanyam prakritim vidime param jiva bhuta mahabo yayedam dharyate jagat. And that means, besides these, almighty Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So, in this way, Krishna speaks about the material nature in this 7th chapter, and then we know and adds to it that the living entity, which constitutionally is a pure spirit soul, which is Jivera Svarupa Hoy, Nitya Krishna Das, that the constitutional position of the Jiva is Nitya Krishna Das. So that is the constitutional position of the soul. But that soul is, when it's in material nature, it is floating around artificially in this eightfold external material nature. So that's the external material nature. Then we have another thing called the three modes, the three gunas, which Krishna speaks in the 14th chapter. And that's the most confidential knowledge. There's a further aspect to material nature, and that is these three modes, which is required to understand a little bit about the nature of the material nature, you can say. And we can return to today's verse as artificially created by the modes of material nature. So one aspect we also learn in the Bhagavad Gita is that these three modes, they are constantly competing for dominance. There's a fluctuation. Sometimes one mode is prominent and sometimes another mode is prominent. This changes all the time. And also we'll just go back to the verse, and it says that fruitive activities artificially created by the modes of material nature and stop the flow of intelligence in wakefulness, dreaming and deep sleep. So this flow of intelligence is also interesting, because something flows, a river, it flows, so it goes from one point and just a current that carries the water down. The gravity carries the water down. So in one way we say that these material modes of nature, we know in the Bhagavad Gita there's a competition, so there's some constant moving around. Even the day is comprised of Brahma Muhurta, which is supposed to be the goodness part of the day. And then we have the daytime, which is supposed to be the passionate part of the day. And then we have the nighttime, which is said to be dominated by the mode of ignorance. So it constantly changes throughout the day. Like that, so it's a flow, it's a moving thing, the cycle of day and night, like that. So in this flow, which is constantly changing, if you place the living entity, then it's like he's completely absorbed in this flow of material nature. And when one identifies with this flow, when one connects one's consciousness, it just connects itself to this flow of material nature. Then one identifies with the material nature, and then one identifies with the tribulations. Sometimes the situation is nice and one gets very disturbed by that, and sometimes this situation is very pleasant and then one gets elated by that. So then one wants to keep the happy situation, and when the negative or bad situation comes again, one is very disturbed. So that means that's exactly what it is when the consciousness, it connects itself to the flow of material nature. It goes up and down. We experience happiness and distress. So that's the gist of it, that artificially created. We said it is not the constitutional position. It is some artificial position which we are now currently in, and it takes an understanding that we are in this artificial position in order to endeavor consciously to get back to the constitutional position. Unless we recognize that we are in the artificial position and that we shouldn't be in the artificial position, we should be in the constitutional position, then we will not endeavor consciously to come back to the constitutional position. So this information is given here by Prahlad Maharaj, so that we can understand that actually, yes, we are in an artificial position, and that in order to be happy, then we are required to come back to our constitutional position. So that being said, then we can maybe connect with more practical ways of how we return to that constitutional position. And we can start off by looking at the purport itself, which Prabhupada gives he starts with quoting this verse in the 14th chapter. Mam chayo vyavicharana. The one who engages in full devotional service who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. And we read one line here from Prabhupada, comments on that. By the practice of Bhakti Yoga, one immediately comes to the spiritual platform, transcendental to the actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. So here we can understand, simply by executing devotional service, then immediately we are connecting with our constitutional position. We are making advancement towards being reinstated in our constitutional position. And actually, we may say that if you perform devotional service, you are in your constitutional position. Because it is said that one who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. And again, by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, one immediately comes to the spiritual platform, transcendental to the actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. So that is what the practice of devotional service does for us. We immediately become situated in our constitutional position. As servants, Nitya Krishna Das, we may not immediately understand what our Swarup and everything like that, but the Nitya Krishna Das part, by executing devotional service, you're acting as a Das, you're acting as a servant. So in that way, we can immediately be seated in a constitutional position simply by executing devotional service. So there's one part here we can maybe also just pay attention to, and that is that one who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance. We can just catch that, who does not fall down in any circumstance. And we can connect it to what Narayani Mataji said on her seminar. It was from Shraddha to Nistha. So that Nistha means actually that you're steady. Nistha means steady, that one does not fall down. One does not fall down from the platform, you can say, of regulated devotional service. So if we do that, if we want to be reinstated in our constitutional position, we must know that first of all Nistha is there. One has to aim for that steadiness, and by practicing regularly devotional service in association of devotees, we may actually get to that steady platform. And then, continuing to perform devotional service, then we may hope actually, by such practice, that we'll be able to always be in Krishna consciousness, not just sometimes, falling in and out. And I'm remembering one thing that Prabhupada was asked by his disciples, sometimes, I'm in Krishna consciousness, but sometimes I fall in Maya, so how to stop that? And Prabhupada says, well, actually, it's not like that. Like, actually, you're always actually in illusion. You're always in Maya, and sometimes you happen to fall in Krishna consciousness. So we want actually to be somehow be always steady in Krishna consciousness. Why do we want to suffer? And why do we want to be illusioned? Suffering means we're in illusion. When we experience, feel sorry for ourselves, we're depressed, dejected. These are all symptoms of illusion. All symptoms of the mode of ignorance. So why should we want to remain connected with that? So thinking like this, that we want to attain that Nistha, as Narayana Mataji pointed at goal to us, at least go for Nistha. And then, when that Nistha is somehow secured by hard endeavor and favorable conditions as the association of devotees, then we may hope to be steadily in Krishna consciousness and be blissful always in Krishna consciousness. Constant bliss, which is there, which is promised. Constitutional position of the soul is Satchit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. So that is there. That is explained as the capacity of the soul to be constantly blissful. So why should we not have that constant bliss? Why should it not be our possession? Yeah. So I thought then to speak a little bit about, because in this 7th canto, if we go further, 7 chapters, then we actually find something very much related to the Harinam Sankirtan Yagya, and it's a very great source of inspiration for the program which we will try to do today. Try to go out and chant Hare Krishna, distribute prasadam. So, this